Hello, thank you for coming to my channel and viewing this video. My name is Andrea Jones. Today is August the 21st, 2026. I am pregnant. I am about to win a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy this year. And I am about to win a $70 million lawsuit about Texans gang raping my child with the Ku Klux Klan. In this video, I am going to be reporting Jason's Deli being involved with gang raping my little boy with the Ku Klux Klan here in Texas. I'm filing child rape and child abuse charges on Alicia, the manager, and security officer R. Garza. His license plate number is WHT4203. He's in a white pickup truck. The address location to where Alicia, the manager, is, in whom I will be filing these charges, is 11081 Westheimer Road, Houston, Texas 77042. I was coming from a Dollar Tree earlier today. It is across the street from this Jason's Deli location. This is a closer view of the Dollar Tree establishment that I was coming from, that is across the street from this Jason's Deli location. I started walking down this side of the sidewalk, which is on the same side of where the Dollar Tree is, so that I could cross the street to get on the bus. This is the street corner where I was going to cross the street. I was on Westheimer Road, which is where that Dollar Tree location was, and I was about to cross over this intersection. The intersecting street is Woolcrest Drive. It is Woolcrest. I started hearing sirens coming down the street once I got to this street corner to cross the intersection. As I was preparing to cross this intersection over Woolcrest to get to the other side of the street where I was going to get on the bus, I heard sirens coming from a Houston Fire Department EMS ambulance. They have been doing operations around the city to deny me medical care for my pregnancy and to alert people when I'm in the area so that they can try to starve my twin babies to death in my womb without the medical care, and to try to get away with raping my child to death with the Ku Klux Klan. So the ambulance was coming down the opposite side of the road where I was crossing. I saw them speeding very loud on the side where you see all of the cars coming in that direction, past where that bus stop was, on the side of where that Jason's Deli is, on the other side of the road. And this is what the ambulance looked like. I started to try to see who was operating the vehicle, but they were going very, very, very fast, speeding the sirens. I knew that they were trying to alert people to try to set me up in the area. At one point, either when I was on the other side of the street walking towards the corner of the intersection, I had thought about trying to see if I could get someone to help me with food. When I heard the sirens, I knew the operations that they're doing all over the city of Houston and anywhere that I go to try to have people starve us outside without food or medical care, to try to starve my twins to death. I knew that there was a Jason's Deli right there, so I didn't think anything of it, and I was like, oh, let me go to that Jason's Deli and see if someone would help us to get something to eat. This was the bus stop that I would need to catch the bus from. So I started to walk towards the bus stop, and there was this light brown black woman that had bags in her hand, and she was behaving erratically, where she was acting as if she were dancing, but she was behaving as if she had some sort of mental illness. So I walked around, and there's a little pathway. I didn't really have to walk around the lady. I just walked around like that trash can in between that bus stop to go through that pathway to get to the Jason's Deli. I noticed that someone was following behind my back. Once I reached the concrete area to where the establishments were, I turned around, and it was the woman that had been behaving erratically at the bus stop. I had went to stand in front of where it says Smoosh next to Jason's Deli, and it is closed down now. So it says for lease, and that building on the side where it looks like it's an empty, vacant location, there's actually a clothing store there now. So I walked past this clothing store that they put there now. It's called Rally House. So as I walked past Rally House, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to stand like right there and ask anybody to help me. It's an establishment, and I just kind of looked in and saw some of the clothes as I was walking past, and I was like, oh, really cool. So I walked past. I noticed that this ice cream shop that I always wanted to try to get some ice cream from, but I never did, called Smoosh, that it was closed down. So that sign, it was no longer there. And there was a blue sign there, dark blue sign that said for lease. And it was empty, no one was inside. There was a trash can that was on one of the sides of the vacant location. Also, there was just like some remnant of some of their signage on the wall, but the place was empty. So I decided that I would stand right there and see if someone would help us to get something to eat. And when I say us, I am pregnant. And so I mean me and my infants. So there are another set of doors next to the location where Smoosh was that is vacant. But I want to explain something that took place. So the lady was walking behind me, and she kind of tucked herself away, like by the rallies, and she was behaving kind of crazy. She kind of ran out when she saw me standing right there. She ran out towards the parking lot when I saw her behind me, and kind of hide away behind me. And then she walked and she spit in my direction. She was speaking crazy, and she just spit. So this is where that took place. And I told her, I said, keep your spit over there, because she spat at me directly. But it didn't hit me, it hit the ground. And I said, keep your spit over there. And so she started behaving as if she were going to try to pull something out of her bag to harm me. So I went closer towards the wall, and I just had a stance to let her know that I would protect myself. And so she went inside of the Jason's Deli, and I just stood there so that I could get someone to help me to get something to eat. So I recall there being a black man that I had seen before at the location where they had been trying to starve my pregnancy, trying to starve my infants to death in this area when I had been living around this area, homeless in this area. But of course, I'm no bum. So I needed a residence, and they were trying to starve my infants to death. They were having women shelters helping them to stage me outside to try to starve them to death. And they were also gang raping my little boy to death with the Ku Klux Klan while they were trying to make it look like I did not have custody of him. They were doing this for racism, and this is why we don't have the residents. It is also why I do not have the medical care. It is also why they were trying to starve me in the area. And it is why I am making this video to report that I will be filing charges on Alicia and Security R. Garza. This black male, he ran very quickly inside of these doors here, which is next to that vacant location where Smoosh was. Well, you know how like the Bible talks about the feet of the wicked running to do evil. That is how he ran inside of the location. So he is a mid brown black male, and he was doing operations when I was in the area for people to try to starve my twins to death. I could tell that when he ran inside of the building that he was going to try to set me up. He was nowhere around the location, but it was, I believe, because of the sirens and that people were alerting people that I was there. So I was standing in front of this vacant ice cream shop, and before the black man ran in, or at some point, there was a white male that pulled up in a vehicle, and he looked like he was a Hispanic white male, and he parked right in front of me, like in front of Rallies. And I looked at his vehicle. It was a silver car, and he was kind of playing with his phone, like a GPS. And I knew that he was probably involved with trying to set me up and surveil me, but I just didn't pay him any mind. So I felt that the management, they have a counter in Jason's Deli where they face the doors. So in front of Smoosh, I was like, I don't want them to really see me ask anyone to help me with the food. So there was a white female that came out, a white Hispanic female that came out with two little baby boys. Well, there were one was young. They were walking, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So I was like, let me ask her, because no woman should sit there and try to just leave me without food, pregnant. So I said, well, maybe she would be kind enough to help us. I was hesitant to ask her to help us because I saw that she had two small little boys with her. So I didn't know if her hands would be too full to help us. Also, I saw that she was walking towards her car to where if I were to ask her to get her attention, that the staff would probably see me ask her to help me. So I didn't want them to say anything. So I was hesitant to ask her. So I thought, well, just because, she has babies with her, it doesn't mean that she couldn't just go right back to the counter and say, I would help this lady. I'm going to buy her, something, and then just go right back to her car with her kids. I mean, they weren't at the vehicle yet. So I thought, let me just ask her. So I did. And I had to kind of step forward a little bit. And I said, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. And she looked back at me, and I said, I'm pregnant. Is there a way you can help us to get something to eat, please? Or I need some help to get some food. Is there a way you can help us to get something to eat, please? And so she looked at me as if she could. Then it's like she was behaving as though her boys or the two children that she had with her were so much more important that she would not do it or that she could not do it. And she kind of was very rude. She was kind of rude. And she just shook her head like, no. And then she went to her vehicle. So I know that I'm supposed to be reporting them for doing this. And God is saying to report them because He's saying that they're trying to get away with raping my child to death. So I thought, just because you have two little boys, I didn't say anything, but I thought this. Just because you have two little boys with you, it doesn't mean that you couldn't help a woman that is pregnant with infants that haven't been born yet. So she just went around to her car and made sure they were situated, behaving very carefree and careless about denying us the food. Then I thought about them raping my son, and I knew that she was wrong. And I thought, how could you sit there with two little boys behaving that like you're so busy with them, and you know that I'm standing outside of this restaurant and you all gang raped my child. So I got her license plate number. It is NZJ7409, and it is a Toyota. I believe that, she was wearing glasses. She was like a white or Hispanic female with dark hair. And I think she may have had some gray roots. So I want to give some details about what took place when I was kind of walking through that pathway into the parking lot. There were a couple of cars that kind of zoomed to park. I didn't really see anybody get out of the car. So it wasn't until I saw that manager just come running out of nowhere into the building very suspiciously. But other than that, I didn't really see anybody get out of a vehicle. I believe I saw, like a couple of cars go past me, like in the front, but like not stop to park or anything. She was the first person and the only person that I asked whose license plate that I recorded. There was another detail. So when I was walking into this direction past rallies, I heard the spirit say, "There's police over here. Like they're gonna try to set you up with police." I looked straight ahead and I didn't see anything until I started to stand in front of that smoosh, and I saw that there was a security vehicle in like the midst of the parking lot, parked with some yellow lights flashing. And I said, oh, okay, maybe that's the police that I heard the spirit say. So I thought, okay, well, they're over there. They're not looking in my direction. I'm just being very discreet and just trying to get someone to help me with the meal, and I am gone. So they had tried to set me up with security like all over the neighborhood, where they had been trying to ostracize me and marginalize me in the country from getting the medical care while they raped my child to death with police. I don't recall if she pulled out of the parking lot yet before there was a black female that pulled up in a black vehicle. And I thought, hopefully, this was a black woman that would try to help, knowing that my case is national and that it is also global. So when she got out of the vehicle, she was very spunky. And I asked her the same as I asked the first woman. I said, ma'am, I'm pregnant and I need some help to get some food. Is there a way you can help us to get something to eat, please? The woman said, well, I have like $3 and a receipt I can give you when I come out. I said, okay, thank you. So as she was walking into the store, or after she went in the store, I noticed this white pickup truck, that security vehicle that I saw that was parked facing another direction in the midst of this parking lot. There were cars surrounding him. This vehicle was now coming like a snake around that part of the Jason's Deli parking lot, and I knew that he was heading towards my direction to try to set me up. They have them doing it all over the city of Houston, and they're trying to do it from all over the country with the Ku Klux Klan. I thought to myself, you better not bother me. And he did. He came and pulled his truck up in front of the vacant location on the actual curb, like the concrete part where I was standing. He rolled his vehicle all the way up on the concrete. Then he said he had on glasses, he had a hat, he was older, and he had gray hair, short gray hair. He's a devil, and he's trying to get away with raping my child to death with the Ku Klux Klan. He said, can I help you? So I was kind of startled a little bit as to what my response would be. The black female was coming out of the establishment around this time, and I said to him, I said, no, not actually. I said, I'm helping myself to get something to eat, and then I'm leaving. I'm going to be gone. So I was hoping that this black female, this black woman, that she would not hand me the few dollars in front of this security guard. And she did. She came right around his vehicle, like, oh, here, and gave me the money, the $3. And I said, thank you, ma'am. So I kind of felt like she sold me out a little bit, but I was like happy that she still helped us. So she got in her car, and I started to go inside of the restaurant with the few dollars to just kind of try to play it off, act like I was looking at the menu or something, just things going through my mind about how to just resolve the situation, get us something to eat, or just leave. And so he started to continue to talk before I could try to go inside of the restaurant. He said, I got a call. Someone is called us on you. And he was saying it as if there was some sort of altercation or something very bad that happened as to why someone would call you, and I just got there. So I didn't believe him. I didn't believe that anybody called him, and I believe that he just happened to see me right there and knew that I was Andrea Jones. I'm famous, and they're trying to set me up all over my social media channels. I'm reporting them, and I'm getting thousands of views. I even have like over 1 million views about my case. So I thought he was lying. I didn't believe that anybody called him. So he pulled up further right in front of the Jason's Deli, and then he got out of the car, and he was saying that, yeah, they called us on you, reporting you. And I just thought that was so crazy. It's like, I just got here. I hadn't even been here long, and only asked one person, and I was discreet about it. And then the black woman that I asked, she helped me with a few dollars, but she wasn't there long enough for them to think that like she had them call. She wasn't there long enough, and the other lady, she didn't go inside and say anything. She had gotten in her vehicle. So I'm like, okay, well, who is he claiming called him. But I just thought to myself that he was lying. And so he was like, yeah, like going into the door. I'm going to go inside. Or he was walking toward the door, like, someone called us on you. So I was like, okay, I'll go inside with you, to see who called you on me, because I'm about to win a $250 million lawsuit. So I stepped to the front counter, and there was this short, chubby, like white Hispanic lady with dents all in her face, like she does drugs, and some hair, brown hair, short brown hair, and a ponytail. And there was a black male, the one that had ran inside very suspiciously, like he was setting me up. He was standing there, and he was taller, light brown male with a short haircut, and he had on a blue, I think a blue, dark blue, like manager shirt. She had on like a green Jason's Deli shirt with an apron on. And as soon as I came inside, the security guard, he stood next to me. We were both at the counter, and regardless of who spoke first, I do recall most of the conversation. And I said, no, or he said, you called us on her or something. No, he said, you called us. I thought that they may have called for the woman that was behaving erratically with me and spit in my direction, that was behaving as if she would get violent. I didn't know if she were acting that way inside of the establishment, and if maybe they had contacted the security for her, and maybe if he had got it misconstrued. So I thought there's no way that they called security on me. So when I was walking inside of the establishment, I saw the woman by the drink machine, and she was still behaving kind of erratically. So I thought that that's who they must have called them for. So to my surprise, as we were walking towards the managers at the front counter, she was like, "Yeah, we called you," and he was like, "On her," and he was talking about me, and she was like, "Yeah, her." She was, I guess, she was trying to say that I was doing something, and I just thought that was so crazy. So, I asked her. I said, I'm coming, like, you called security on me, and if all I remember is what she said next. And she said, hold on. I gotta brace myself for how she said it and what she said. Hold on. She said, "Are you asking for food? Are you asking for food?" And the way that she said it was as if she were trying to uh, berate me, or belittle me, or speak to me as if I were a bum or a junkie, or if I were her child. So I immediately responded by saying, I am pregnant, and I am about to win a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy. So she looked at, because she was still on the other side of the counter, like where she takes her orders, and she looked at the security guard, who was also having a stance that he were trying to belittle me, or berate me, or try to set me up or harm me in some sort of manner. I kept a very respectable manner and a very dignified tone. So it was a lot of racism and murder surrounding their operation of what they were trying to do to me inside of the establishment. Well, I recall also asking her what her name was when I first started to speak with her, when he said, "Did she call?" And she said yes. And I asked her what was her name, and she said Alicia. And so I wrote her name down, and or I was going to, I don't know, did I write it down? I have my notes. Yeah, I did. And I wrote down his badge the name off of his badge, which says that it was R. Garza. And then I asked the black male, I said, "Can I get your name? What's your name?" And he would not tell me his name. So I told her, I said, "I am pregnant and I am about to win a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy this year." And so she looked at the security officer and she squinched up her eyes. And then she put her hand up like, like, like trying to act like I'm crazy and behaving as if I were not pregnant, trying to put on some sort of set or act to pretend that she does not know that I'm pregnant and that I am about to win a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, and behaving in a manner, her mannerisms was as if they should try to harm me. And so, as I noticed her mannerisms when I told her that I am about to win a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, I said, "And I am about to win a $70 million lawsuit about you all gang raping my child." And when I said that, she said, "You see what I'm talking about?" So, first of all, I never had any interactions with her. I was outside the entire time and I was only there for a short time. So, what would she be talking about? Whatever call was made from inside of the building without my knowledge. I never had any interactions with her or the black male that went inside of the establishment. I told you all the only interactions that I had with the first lady that denied us the food and with the black woman that helped us with a few dollars. So when she said, "You see what I'm talking about?" I haven't been in that area for months. So I know that I think she was one of the people that was in the area trying to be involved with operations to try to starve us, where there were people that were helping us, but they don't want anyone to help us, and they want to do operations to try to harm us. So I don't know what she was talking about, but this is what her reaction was when I said, "And I have a $70 million lawsuit about you all raping my child." She said, "You see what I'm talking about?" And she pointed her hand up again towards the security officer and squinched up her face. And she said, "Should I call the police?" In a skit. It was a skit for her to behave like she does not know that they gang raped my child, that they've been gang raping my child to death, and that they have kidnapped my child while they are trying to get away with raping my child to death. When she said, "Should I just call the police?" her entire tone, the entire atmosphere was all, "Let's try to harm Andrea Jones with the police very quickly. Should we try to do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think we should." So I asked her, I said, "Why are you calling the police?" And she hurried and turned and ran to try and call them. And I looked at him and I said, "You don't have to call the police." And so, knowing that they were going to try to harm me, murder the babies, try to murder me, or try to abduct me about them raping my child and about me having this $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, I just exited out of the establishment as quickly as possible. So they never had to ask me to leave. We were having the conversation about what is going on, and then she tried to harm me with police. So the police are very well aware of the fact that they were gang raping him. They gang raped him as well. The police department gang raped my child for racism with whites. So it's all a setup for them to, from what God is saying, that they're trying to murder me. So I walked away from their establishment, from in front of the building. I told Alicia as I was leaving, I said, "I'm filing charges." And I told the security guard as I was leaving from in front of the building that I'm filing charges. I said this because I know that they're trying to murder me about my case. I know that they're trying to get away with killing my child. I know that they're trying to kill my twins. I know that they're trying to stop me from winning my lawsuit. I know that they're trying to set me up to be murdered by police. They are trying to cover up that they were raping my child. And they're trying to cover up that I am pregnant. So they just want to kill my baby for me never to see him again. And then they want to set me up to be killed as well. Our Garza looked at me in shock a little bit when I told him that I'm filing charges because he knows how deep this case is. I could tell that as I was walking off of the premises so that I could get on the bus that he wished that the police were already there so that he could try to harm me with police. Now, he was kind of following me as I left the property on the same pathway that I came. When I got towards the bus stop at the end of the pathway, I looked back and I saw him at the concrete at the edge right in front of Riley's house, where he was standing there wanting to harm me. I could tell, I could feel it. There was a black man that was there at the bus stop with his bus. And he had stopped for a moment, so he was outside of the bus. I didn't know if he would take long, but I just didn't want to be there anymore. So I asked him, could I get on if he would be there long? He was like, no, we're going to leave now. I said, cool. I was like, thank you, Jesus. So our Garza was standing right there trying to get them to hurry and try to make it seem like there was a reason for them to have to call the police. So I looked at him like he was acting as if he wanted to try to argue with me from the bus stop. So I didn't. I just kind of yelled at that point, and I was upset, obviously. And I said very loud, where everybody on the bus heard, the bus driver heard, and I said, y'all were gang raping my child to death with the KKK. I said, I am filing charges. That was it. So we waited a few more minutes and then the bus driver pulled off. I was silent the rest of the ride and I thought to myself, I need to start reporting her immediately. I need to report them immediately. I started making these templates on the bus that I'm reporting Jason's Deli involved with gang raping my child with the Ku Klux Klan in Texas. And I'm filing child rape and child abuse charges on Alicia Manager and Security Officer R. Garza, license plate number WHT4203, white pickup truck 11081, Westheimer Road, Houston, Texas 77042. So I want to go a little bit into the details of my issue that I have with Alicia as to why I'm filing the charges, and with our Garza as to why I am filing the charges. I also need to go into some details of the rest of the operation that took place in order for me to get something to eat. So I went by the Galleria Mall and I went across the street to a plaza, and there were two white females that denied me help for food. I asked them the same way, excuse me, ma'am, I'm pregnant, and will you help me to get something to eat? I'm reporting them because they're doing this with the Ku Klux Klan. They know that they stole my little boy and gang raped him with the Ku Klux Klan, and they're doing this with Alicia back at the Jason's Deli, and then they're doing the operation all over with whites and with people that are helping them to do it. License plate number TJC9985 GMC, license plate number VKF7710 Ford, two white females. I also noticed that someone was following me as the mail was doing in front of Bradley's house when I got to the Jason's Deli. I've been noticing that the closer that I get to winning my lawsuit, that more and more people are following me around the locations where they are trying to starve us. And God said that Child Protective Services will be coming because it is child abuse. So XBS 3113 in a Genesis, a white female was following as people were denying me the help for the food. There was also a white male following GQDX19. He was in like a Taekwon. I'm not sure if it's a Volkswagen, but I did see it's a Taekwon, a white male. So they're doing these operations to try to follow me around and try to starve my pregnancy so that they can try to get away with raping my child. They are following me in trails, so people are also following the buses, and they started following me in a trail surrounding the entire parking lot. One of the vehicles was TXB 9262 Honda, Hispanic female, where they're all trying to do an operation to try to stop me from being in a hospital to get the medical care for my pregnancy. So I just kind of walked around the stores as if, I was a regular person shopping, and I just tried to ask a couple of people, a few people, if they would help us with the food. But they are trying to have the state of Texas and the entire U.S. involved with them doing this operation to try to starve my infants to death, where they also want to get away with killing my child. My lawsuit is two lawsuits combined about the pregnancy being abused and about them raping my child. So, with them abusing the pregnancy, they're also trying to stop me from winning the lawsuit about them raping my child. They're trying to get away with killing my child by raping him to death. I noticed this other vehicle following with trails of other vehicles. It's 04DRZK, a Nissan. It was a white male and female. They followed me all the way to the end of the plaza where I was walking in front of the stores, and they were riding in their vehicle. Once I got to the end of the plaza, they parked at the store, and then they started walking towards my direction where I was standing to where I was about to leave the plaza. I decided to test them to see if they would do the right thing since they were following me, or if they would try to deny us the food. When they approached the doorway to where I stopped to stand, they denied me the food when I told them I'm pregnant and I need some help to get something to eat. Would you all mind helping us to get some food? And they refused to help us to get anything to eat. So I documented that they were following us, and then they also denied us the food. There were two black males that were standing in front of a restaurant called Moxie's around the valet parking lot area. I know that the black men, a lot of them, that they're setting us up, and that they were also gang raping my child to death with the Ku Klux Klan. So I knew that most likely that they were going to try to disperse. They were conversating, and once they realized that I was right there in the vicinity, knowing that I am reporting them as well, they did start to behave as if they would depart very quickly to their vehicles. This was for them to flee the scene, to flee from helping me, and to let people try to set me up with security. There was a security vehicle that a cart that started to circle inside of the location. So I only reported, the people who I asked. I didn't ask many people. So I am very famous, and this is something to what God says they're trying to do a death ritual on me. So it was very important for me to document the operations that were happening around me. As I started to approach the two black males, I didn't want to walk very quickly, just, in a normal pace. They started to behave suspiciously, where they both started walking very, very quickly in separate directions towards their vehicles, as if I were to be able to speak with one of them, that it would require for me to almost chase them to speak with them. I didn't do that. I noticed one of the males, a black male, taller black male with glasses, or a taller black male. I remember he had on the black shirt, a box haircut. He started walking very quickly away towards his vehicle, very fast, so I couldn't really speak with him. They were doing this operation as Ku Klux Klan members, whites that are in the Ku Klux Klan. I know that they are, because they're all setting me up to try to get away with raping my child to death. They were pulling in and going in very quickly into a store. So I already had in my mind to ask one of the black males to help me. There was the other black male. He had on a white shirt, like a button up or a collar shirt. He, I believe he had glasses, a short, like afro. Then he was already in his car. He already got in his car, a white Tesla, very quickly. He had a darker brown complexion, and he was kind of heavy set. So I didn't like stand in front of his vehicle or go to the side of his vehicle on the side of his passenger side, but I was like by the vehicle next to him, and before I could try to approach him, he started pulling out very, very quickly. So the Holy Spirit, I could just feel lead me to ask the two black women that were uh, approaching out of a store to a vehicle if they would help me, so that I could get his license plate number without looking really suspicious. So once I started to go towards these black women to ask them to help me, he pulled off in that direction, and I was able to get his license plate number. SGM663. He's in a white Tesla, and I made sure to put that he's setting me up. And he's setting me up for the Ku Klux Klan. He's setting me up not to get medical care for my pregnancy. He's setting me up for people to starve me pregnant outside, then try to lie and make it seem like I'm not pregnant. He's also trying to set me up to be murdered. And he's trying to set me up not to win my lawsuit settlement this year. Also, he's trying to set me up with celebrities. These celebrities were gang raping my child to death with the Ku Klux Klan, with whites, and with police. When I started to approach the two black females, I always try to keep a stance, for them to feel comfortable. I know that they know what's going on, and that they're setting me up. So it's up to them to try to, help me to do the right thing, or to try to just go along with what America is trying to do, with getting away with killing my child by raping him to death and trying to murder me while I am pregnant, needing the medical care. They seem like they were African women, or that they were from somewhere else. I'm not exactly sure. I do recall them looking at me very suspiciously, as if they were setting me up. So I asked them, I said, "Ma'am, I'm pregnant. Ma'am, I'm pregnant. Is there a way you all can help me to get some food, please? I need some help to get something to eat." And they said, "No, no, 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 no money, no money." So this is what they're trying to do all over the state of Texas, all over Houston, Texas, which is where I am. So I just, walked past. And I was disappointed to have to get their license plate number, knowing that they know that I am reporting them. So it is disappointing to know that they would continue to try to uh, take advantage of my vulnerability as a pregnant woman to still try to murder me, knowing that I am reporting them, for them to believe that that type of corruption is going to prevail over my God that says that I am winning this $250 million lawsuit this year, and that nobody is stopping me from winning my lawsuit this year. He also said that nobody is stopping me from uh, giving birth, and that nobody is getting away with raping my child. He said that no one is helping anybody get away with raping my child. So their license plate number is YFM0332. They're in a Toyota. It was two black females. So now I want to go into my issues that I have with Alicia, the manager at the Jason's Deli. My issue that I had with her was her response to them gang raping my child. When I was speaking with her and I said that I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, she didn't say, should I call police? Why would you need to call police, Alicia, for me telling you that I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy? First of all, you never asked me to leave. The security officer never asked me to leave. He said that he got a call. We both came inside to speak with you about why you called. You did not ask me to leave. He did not ask me to leave. We were having the conversation where you asked me, are you asking for food? We were having a conversation. But you didn't say, leave the premises. You didn't say that. So why would you need to call police? So then when I say that I have a $70 million lawsuit, I said, and I have a $70 million lawsuit about you all gang raping my child. Then all of a sudden, you tried to hurry and call police. Should I call the police? And our guardsman says, yeah, call them. Alicia, why would you try to hurry and call the police? Because I have a $70 million lawsuit about you all gang raping my child. All of you Texans did it. You all did it. So why would you need to call the police on me because you all gang raped my child? Then you all have me outside pregnant without the medical care, and you're trying to get away with raping him to death where I do not know where my son is. So I'm going to speak to Alicia directly over social media, since she thinks that we can't have a conversation without her trying to call police. So we'll have the conversation over the internet. That's what I decided. Since Alicia feels that she has to try to call police to avoid a conversation about raping my child and to try to harm me about my lawsuit, then I will just have the conversation with you via social media, which is why she was trying to set me up so quickly, because of all the information about them raping him and all of the information about my pregnancy that is on social media. So, Alicia, I would like to finish my statement to you after you asked me, are you asking for food? Are you asking for food? Well, this is my statement. This is my reply to your question. This is how I want to respond to what you said. And I'm going to do it in the same manner that I did it with you in the restaurant today. I am pregnant, and I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy that I am about to win this year. And I have a $70 million lawsuit that I am about to win about you all gang raping my child. That was easy. That was simple. All you had to do was listen. So now I have a question. Why did you call security on me and my babies? See, I'll tell you what I think. Since she's not here to respond over this video, I think it's because she was trying to get away with it. Trying to get away with harming them, my twins. Trying to get away with trying to stop me from winning my lawsuit. Trying to get away with them killing my child. And trying to get away with trying to kill me with police. So I just thought about it from this perspective of me as a multimillionaire. That Alicia was speaking to me in a way where she was trying to portray me like I were a bum. So if I am about to win $250 million this year, then why would you try to treat me like I were a bum outside of your establishment and to try to call security on me? I believe it's because Alicia was trying to cover up that I have a lawsuit, that I am pregnant, and that they were raping my child. Also, that I have another lawsuit about them raping my child. And I believe that's the biggest thing that Alicia wants to cover up, which is why I'm filing the charges. The fact that when I mentioned them gang raping my child, that she felt that she needed to call police. She said, you see what I'm talking about? And he's like, yeah, call them. It's not out of concern for my son. That's not what I believe. I believe it's because of the heinousness of you all gang raping him in the first place. That for me to have to say it to your face, that that is what you all did to my child, and that you have the audacity to try to starve me outside of your establishments, then try to harm me without the medical care, is why you wanted to call police. To make it short, I feel that if we were in court and I just won my $250 million lawsuit, which I will, my God said that I am winning this lawsuit, that once I receive my settlement, if I go back with my lawyers and say that Alicia called security on me when I was trying to get help with food, I believe that it is criminal for Alicia to have tried to make that call. And that is because I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy. So why would you call police on a pregnant woman that has a $180 million lawsuit about her pregnancy, and all I did was ask someone for food? It is because you all should not be having me being forced to ask you all for food in the first place. Because you're not supposed to be staging me without the medical care while trying to lie and say that I am not pregnant. Also, if you all were gang raping my child to death with police, why would you be calling police on me? I wasn't the one that was raping him. You all were raping him. So, shouldn't I be calling the police on you all that are trying to be involved with operations to try to get away with gang raping my child to death? So, let's look at this in court. After I win the $70 million, which is a part of a $250 million lawsuit that includes the $180 million lawsuit about the pregnancy, you all were gang raping my child to death. Alicia, why would you try to call the police on a pregnant woman whose child has been being gang raped to death? That is criminal. That also involves our Garza, the security officer that tried to say, oh, someone called me. Like, why would you try to say someone called you on me? So when I win my $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, that's what you're going to say? That someone called me on her to try to stop her from getting food. You all were gang raping my child to death. So you want to say someone called me on her? No, you all are trying to get away with raping him to death. And you're trying to get away with trying to cover up the pregnancy by trying to starve them to death. Then you're trying to get rid of me and you're trying to do it with police. It was a lot of things that I wanted to say to Alicia as I went over the words that she spoke to me today and how she tried to call police on me after mentioning them raping my child. So that was the biggest red flag of the evidence of what is most important to Alicia. The way that she behaved when I said that I have the $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy was as if she expects to lie and make it seem like I'm not pregnant than to try to have someone harm me while I am pregnant. Also, her response to try to hurry up and try to call police when I mentioned them raping my child was the biggest thing. That Alicia wants to get away with raping him to death with the Ku Klux Klan. Then they want to try to portray me like I'm crazy with police. So if I mention what you all are doing, what the operation is, why you are doing this, then she wants to try to respond as if I'm crazy, like she needs to try to call police. So I didn't want to have to do this video, but I thought about my child and her response to me telling her that I'm winning the $70 million lawsuit this year about them raping my child. That I thought if someone would go to that extent to try to call police on me for saying that to her, that she wants to get away with killing my child, and so she made it very personal to where I have to expose her, and that she has that type of motive towards my little boy, that she wants to get away with killing him that bad that she would try to call police on me for stating that I have a lawsuit about them raping him. So I made sure that when I was speaking with Alicia that I didn't speak to her in a tone that was loud, that I did not curse or behave in an argumentative manner. I just simply stated what the truth is, that I am winning a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy and a $70 million lawsuit about you all raping my child. So I did not want to speak to her in a manner that was disruptive for her to have to call the police. But I was very shocked at how she spoke to me, where she said, "Are you asking for food? Are you asking for food?" She was trying to speak to me as if I were a junkie. This is because they stooped that low to gang rape my little boy when he was only 2 years old. So they need to try to belittle me so bad as a woman of color to try to be that racist to me so that they can try to get away with doing that to my son. They want to try to tear me down so bad that when I was having a dignified conversation with her about what was going on when she made the call, that you all know that I have altogether, it's a $250 million lawsuit that I'm winning this year. That she really felt that they needed to try to tear me down by trying to call police. So, with me being a sister, I really did want to tell what my response should have been to Alicia speaking to me in that way, but I did not want to be disruptive. I didn't want to have any altercations with her. I just simply wanted to let Alicia know that this operation is illegal. After I thought about it, when I was doing the templates of me filing the charges, I thought I really would like to give Alicia a piece of my mind behind her speaking to me that way, like I were some sort of dog. She was speaking to me. Are you asking for food? Looking at me in my face. Are you asking for food? So I'll answer that question another way after thinking about the way that you spoke with me, Alicia. And since I'm on social media and you're where you are, I will say how I feel. I will answer your question in another way since we're not inside of your establishment, and since I had time to think about how you spoke to me. So these are some of the recent videos of my infants kicking in my womb that I am winning the $180 million lawsuit about this year. So my response to Alicia when she asked me, "Are you asking for food? Are you asking for food?" Was, "I am pregnant." And I said that because, you know, does it matter if I'm asking for food? I am pregnant. And I said, I am winning a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy this year. Are you asking for food? I am winning a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy this year. And if I was, so they're lying about the pregnancy in hospitals. Are you asking for food? You all are lying about the pregnancy in hospitals. So, yes, I was asking for food, Alicia. Also, they are trying to starve them to death. And I am reporting you all on social media. So, are you asking for food? Yes, I am. And I am continuing to report you all trying to starve them to death all over social media. Okay? So, now we're going to go a little deeper into my response. Are you asking for food? Are you asking for food? Yes, the fuck I am asking for food. All right. Are you asking for food? Are you asking for food? Who the fuck you think you talking to? Alicia, who the fuck do you think that you're talking to? See, I'm very polite. It's always yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, all that. I know how to carry myself. But right now, we're on my social media channel right now, and I didn't explain what all took place. So, you can't just call the police on me or whatever, talking about I'm in your establishment doing this and telling you who the fuck you talking to. But since we got it out the way of how it really went down, now I'm gonna answer your question. Am I asking for food? Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Are you asking for food? Who the fuck do you think you talking to? Who the fuck do you think that you're talking to? Don't talk to me like that. So, call the police. That's what you wanted. You wanted me to go off on you, but I didn't. And then you still went to try to call them when I just simply stated that I have a $70 million lawsuit about you all raping my child. So anyway, this is the evidence or whatever. You ain't talking to me like that. That's why I responded the way that I did. I am pregnant. I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy, and I have a $70 million because that was my response. You know what that meant when I told you that I'm pregnant and I have a $180 million lawsuit about my pregnancy? It meant, who the fuck do you think you talking to? That's what it meant. So just like I told you all, our guards, I'm filing charges. Alicia, I'm filing charges. Why? Because y'all want to try to harm us. So I'm good, y'all. I'm calm. We're safe. We won't be going back there. Also, I want her to get fired. I hope that you all let her go from the company after this. That is my wish. And I don't want to have to take it any further other than the initial investigations about who they are and their involvement with these men raping my child.